What's going on in a mind of a 10,000 hour survivor while getting chased? Let's get into it. Alright, it's very important to know that if you go and solve the box, it is very important to look around you what you can play around with. Now, before you start solving, look around you, analyze your surroundings, and see what you can play around with. In case they do teleport, you can already run with a plan. We have window, palette. Now, this one is a little bit deeper. While I'm solving the box, I'm not just looking at a random direction. I'm looking into that specific direction. Now, the reason why I'm looking into that specific direction is because when the game started, now this was on stream, when the game started, I was on a generator with the mag on that side of the map. I was all the way on that corner on a generator. Now, mag failed a skill check. And when mag failed a skill check, I decided to go and solve the box. Now, this was in the beginning of the game. You have to know that in the beginning of the game, the killer is looking for survivors, so, they can start a chase. Now, when I was solving the box, I looked in that specific direction because I'm assuming that the killer should be close or maybe even in that area where the mag failed the skill check in the beginning. So there was a high chance that the killer could be already on that side. Now, that is the reason why I'm looking at that side while solving the box. What a lot of pin mains like to do as well is when a survivor is solving the box, they try to snipe the survivor with a chain, so it resets the, time that you were solving the box, and they can get closer and, get a hit and potentially get it down, so they can have a chain hunt starting. Now, I was looking in that direction, and I was correct. The Pinhead was on that direction. Now, I see the Pinhead aiming with a chain. I know that the chain distance is pretty far, so you can already see me running towards Shack. Now, I do know I have a pallet in front of me, and I do know I have a window behind me, but there is no need to stay around these, resources since the killer is still so far away, so I can just run and take my time all the way to Shack. In my opinion, that chain was totally BS. Like, absolutely BS, but hey, if you want to say it's a hit, it's a hit. If you don't, then you don't. It was pretty cracked, even though it was luck or not, it was pretty good. Holy shit, you hit that chain? Nah, that has to be luck, right? Or he's cracked. Now, this is an interesting one. The reason why I'm standing still for a few seconds at the corner of the shack is to see if the killer would actually commit to the chase. Now, I know I have the box, and it's very likely that the killer will commit. So, if they get it down on me, they can potentially, start a chain hunt and so on. But the reason why I stood still is because many killers nowadays, when they see, a survivor running towards a, structure like shack or like a main building, they usually drop chase. So the reason why I stood still there for a few seconds is to see, is this killer actually committing, yes or no? Now, I'm also assuming it's because I have the box, so killers expect, when survivors have a box, they are oblivious, so survivors won't be looping that well, but I'm already ahead of that. I know I have the box, I know I'm oblivious, so I will pay way more attention on my screen. He's either cracked or that was insane luck. For VTech, someone clip this, please. Also, since one of the survivors already used Shack pallets so early in the game, this could also be a reason why the Pinhead is committing to the chase at Shack. Once again, this is an interesting one. Now, in my mind, right here, so this is a pallet which is on the edge of the map. Now, usually killers try to push you on the other side, so basically on the dead zone side. Now, as you can see, I am stunning the killer from the dead zone side. I'm on a side where if the killer breaks a pallet, I have almost nowhere else to run. So the reason why the killer broke the pallet is because I have nowhere else to run. But I knew that the killer was going to break the pallet instantly. There is no need for the killer to bloodlust. There is just no need because I'm already dead zoned. I'm on the side that the killers want you to be in. I'm on a side which is completely cornered and, I have almost nothing else to play around with, basically. So killers will break the pallet immediately. I know that. I know for a fact this is gonna happen. So what I did here is I already pre-ran. Now, as you can see, I'm already right here. I'm so confident that this killer is going to break the pallet without even needing to look at the Pinhead, because I know right now what's gonna happen is the killer is gonna break the pallet instantly since I'm cornered, so they can catch up to me a lot faster. But because I know that, I already pre-ran to save me some distance so I can make it to the next pallet. Now look where I am, and if you listen closely, they just started breaking the pallet while I'm already right here. And now notice how far I am after they broke the pallet. That is an insane amount of distance. I was literally just in a dead zone. They broke the pallet and I'm already over here. All because I just knew the killer was going to break the pallet because I was dead zoned. Right here, I reach my second pallet. Since I have so much distance from the killer, there is no need for me to stay near that pallet.
Bro, I'm here. I cannot hold your hand, man. Like...
On these type of pallets, there is two different sides. There is a side that has a pile of wood, and there is a side that doesn't have that. Always loop the side that has a pile of wood because it's a bigger side, and the chance of you getting mind gamed is very unlikely. Now, if you loop a killer on a very short loop, the chance of you getting mind gamed or getting hit is way more likely.
No, don't take hits, Meg. What the fuck?
Now, I was playing solo queue and this was painful because the Meg was doing a lot of big mistakes. Now, spoilers alert, it's not going to be a 5-gen chase. I got robbed from a 5-gen chase. So what happened is the Meg kept coming to me and taking a hit and then go back and heal. Coming, taking a hit, go back and heal. Coming, taking... I think she did it 2 or 3 times, but that is not how you play as a teammate. So what the Meg should have done is staying on a gen. Literally staying on a gen. There is no need for the Meg taking hit because I'm not injured. I haven't even been hooked. So there is no need to take a hit. Now let's say you do take a hit in the beginning, okay? Let's say she does take a hit in the beginning as you saw right here. Now let's say you take the hit in the beginning and the killer ignores you, then you should always just stay on a gen because you know that the killer does not want you. The killer wants the person that, you know, they were chasing since the beginning because they just wanted me. The killer just wanted me. So even if someone else takes a hit, it doesn't matter. The killer will ignore it and go for me. So you're basically just wasting time. You're wasting all that time that you could have just stayed on a gen.
Let them chase me, do gens. This guy knows. Dude, if I had just one person in my team who does like, who's like a good gen rusher, like Alex or something, or Steffi, I could confidently say this is gonna be 5 gens. But now I cannot say that, Chad.
On this pallet, I know on the back of my head that the killer does not respect. The killer just doesn't respect. The first pallet, they swung, I got a stun, where I was dead zoned. The second pallet, they swung, but I wasn't even there. They just predicted a swing. Same thing goes for the third pallet, they just insta-swung as well. And on this pallet, there is a high chance, at least 80-90% chance, that the killer will just insta-swing once again. So I just insta-dropped the pallet and I got the stun.
Map where I looped only for 5 gens? Dude, people are gonna accuse me for paid actors. No, Meg, no! Go on gens, please!
Okay, so the reason why I pre-dropped this pallet is because we were 4 pallets in, 3 of them were stunts, and 1 of them was where they just swung and they didn't get anything from it. So there was a high chance that they might start respecting pallets. But the real reason why I pre-dropped this pallet is because these loops are very low. So if I do decide to greed this pallet, what a Pinhead can do is stand at the pallet or stand close to the pallet and shoot a chain and basically get a guaranteed hit on me. So I was playing the 50-50 game on this pallet where I was dropping it, faking the pallet, but I do eventually get hit on this pallet. I don't know how many minutes I'm already in, but the killer does get the first hit.
Bro.
Now, this is the saddest part of the video. Now, I'm injured and I have the box. Now, I know that if I do go down, the chain hunt starts. Now, potentially, if there is any survivors nearby, they could take a hit. But that's only if there's like, you know, survivors nearby. Or when you're playing with friends, you can, you know, make callouts and say where you are. But if there is a survivor nearby, it's always better for them to take a hit, maybe even take a down, because it's a lot more important than you going down with the box and starting a whole chain hunt, because then you will be on the hook and the chain hunt will start. So it will be a lot more, you know, harder for your solo queue teammates to save you, since they have to deal with chain hunt and they have to deal with you being on hook. So even if the Meg did take a hit and went down here, that would have been massive, because then I would have a lot more distance to make it to another pallet. Sadly, that did not happen. So she took 2 hits when I was full health, but when I was injured and when I needed it the most, she wasn't there.
This is a 5-gen chase. If Meg was on a gen, that's 3 people on gens, by the way. And that would have been... Yeah. Bro, I cannot believe it. Meg is just following me, man. I cannot believe that. This is a mistake that you should never do as a survivor. Right there. Yeah. Thank you, Meg.
So this one is for the survivors out there, or, you know, the solo queue survivors out there. If you think you're doing well by taking hits for your teammate when they're literally looping the killer for so many minutes, you might think you're doing well, but you're not. Like, you're damaging the game, well, the game that you're in, the match that you're in, more than you're doing good. And that's just like a tip. I'm not like blaming anybody who, you know, does things like these, but I'm just showing that what you can do better as a survivor. But you know, it happens, you know, you cannot always run the killer for like that long. It's solo queue after all, so I cannot expect amazing plays every single time. I think, you know, showing my losses is also like a good thing when it comes to educational. Sometimes, you know, I will have games like these, you know, where I just end up dying. But it's still nice to showcase and show, you know, what's on my mind, what's going on, and, you know, how I deal with it and how I play around it and what I can improve, you know. And yeah, if you guys want to see these games live, you know, come say hello on my Twitch. And yeah, that's that. See you in the next one. Bye.